My name is Val Emanuel. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rif Care.
I'm Rebecca Caputo. I'm the co-founder and COO of Rif Care.
We're an organic period care company, and we make products out of hemp fiber.
Hemp fiber. Okay, interesting. And what are all the products that you make?
We make pads, tampons, period underwear, and now thong panty liners.
Ah, okay. And so what does conscious business mean to you, and how does that play out in what you're building?
I think when you're building a conscious business, you have to think above margins. So margins are always really important, but then you have to think, what is my value prop? What do my customers really want? Because customers say they want one thing, but then they really want something else, like something really comfortable. Even though they're like, it needs to be super eco-friendly. It's like running a conscious business. Okay, but like you have to put, if you're a food product, taste first. It can't just have all these functions. If you're a feminine care product, like it has to actually work and
Right.
with the best materials you can possibly.
So you can't make sacrifices just to check the box of I feel better about what I'm buying because it's more sustainable or socially responsible. Making efficacious products is number one. Is there any other way that conscious business plays out into how you're building the business and growing the business, obviously, by attracting consumers or like retailers?
Yeah, I think when we were building Rif Care, we really put a lot of effort into the impact that we would make. Like with period products specifically, there's so much pollution. And even on the shelves, like there's a lot of greenwashing. And so we really wanted to be transparent with the way that we, you know, position ourselves. And what we say is like, well, we're going to walk the walk, we're going to talk the talk.
That makes sense. And what kind of innovations have you had to come up with in order to make what you're doing possible?
So we were actually the first company to make period products out of hemp fiber. So our pads and our period underwear are made out of hemp fiber. And so for us, it's like we had to work with manufacturers who could eventually go to scale because when we first started this brand, there was a cotton shortage. So they're like, okay, could you make 5 million boxes if you needed to in 2 years? And so luckily with hemp, it is such an amazing resource. The way it grows, we're able to have this really abundant supply. We actually make our pads and our fibers out of upcycled hemp fiber. We know that our supply chain is pretty solid because of the material we chose to use and innovate with.
And did that supply chain already exist, or did you have to go out and build that supply chain?
No, we built that brick by brick.
And what about manufacturing? Are you doing your own manufacturing, or did you have to
We manage
find
it.
and bring a manufacturer along and help them try to figure out how to do that?
Yeah, so we co-manufacture actually. And so even when we found our product manufacturer, they didn't exactly have the hemp connection. So we had to connect to them with someone in another country to get our first prototypes. But after doing all that, we realized it's really not that hard. Sometimes you just have to connect the dots because you might go to a beverage manufacturer or something and they're like, oh, well, we don't make those biodegradable sugar-based water bottles that you want, but there's somebody else. So you just have to connect people yourselves.
What were the biggest challenges in trying to figure out this material that's not typically used in this industry and building the supply chain and kind of connecting with manufacturers? What kind of hurdles did you have to overcome, or what were the biggest hurdles?
I think the hardest part for us was logistics. It's like, I don't drive a truck, you know? We had to learn how to drive a U-Haul truck to pick up our products and package it up and put stickers on them and deliver it. We were the ones delivering our products to the distributors at the very beginning.
And I think also there's a lot of paper walls in CPG where somebody just tells you can't do something, but then you will find the right vendor, the right partner, and all of a sudden it's like, there's people trying to make hemp feminine care for 10 years and we got a sample in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it's all possible. It was completely a paper wall and you just have to put yourself out there. Like we were all over the dark web looking for all these different tissue paper manufacturers and manufacturers of like PPE. And we're like, look, one of these people has to be willing to take on this big project we have. And that's exactly what happened.
It reminds me of a book in philosophy called Figure Outable. Everything is figure outable. It's not actually an obstacle. It's just that nobody's pushed through that paper wall and figured it out before. We're here at a Natural Products Expo West where there's lots of innovation happening. But what innovation are you seeing or most excited about that you feel is driving meaningful change in our industry?
I actually really love how women's health has been expanding lately. I think there's such a space to innovate for women. There's not a lot of products that make it easy for women to feel safe. And I think that's like what I'm really excited about learning more about. And I think there's just so many more opportunities for companies to fill that gap.
Completely. I mean, there's so many products, even if you go out on the floor this year for PMS, for period pain, for menopause. Menopause is a huge market that a lot of brands are now getting into because women go through all these stages of life. And I mean, they weren't even doing hormone therapy. So do you think they were taking care of their nutrition or their health or thinking about when when I'm on my period, I should hydrate with these nutrients instead of these nutrients. So we're partnering with a lot of those companies, telling our customers about them and trying to add value to ourselves by talking about these things on the blog and social media because, we get to go to the Expo West of the world. And so when we go, it's like, how can we tell more women what's going on in women's health?
And do you feel like part of the reason we're seeing that momentum and that innovation happening for women health is that we're seeing more women entrepreneurs and more women investors and more funding going to women-owned businesses, et cetera, and therefore better representation and women actually making decisions for women instead of men guessing at what women want?
I think it's really like we were very lucky being able to partner with Naturally Network in the beginning and like finding just like who our cheerleaders were in this industry. Like you cannot succeed in this business without help. And I think that we were just lucky that people wanted to help us.
Also with the innovation, you're seeing a lot of women just having their own struggles and talking about it more online. So some of the reasons these brands can do really good on TikTok Shop or Amazon or now even like Looney landing in Whole Foods with their PMS supplements is because there's a market for it, but there's not that much funding. I mean, women are still getting 3% of funding and men are getting 97% of funding. So there's so much opportunity for investors, for partners, for celebrities who want to partner with brands and become ambassadors, because I think the reason we're having this resurgence of a health movement, but just specifically for women, is because too many women were suffering and that suffering was affecting everything on the planet. And if women are healthy, the planet is healthy.
And hopefully that trend will change. I know you said the 3% funding is going towards women-owned businesses, which I saw that statistic a couple of years ago, and hopefully it's starting to shift. I did also read a statistic that said, I can't remember the date, but soon women will be the majority wealth holders in the world because they're, either inheriting the money or building these businesses or whatever. And they'll be driving a lot of philanthropy and grants and other kind of mission-driven stuff soon. So hopefully that means we'll be able to like shift that funding gap where we can get a little bit more equality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about Naturally Network, but we're here with Naturally Network. So how has Naturally Network helped on your journey, maybe besides just some connections?
We learned about the minority-owned fellowship through Naturally Network, and we just put our name in the ring and we got accepted, and they were able to guide us through, really hold our hand in teaching us like, this is how you build a sales deck. This is how you talk to retailers. This is how you build your distribution channels. We knew none of that starting out. Like your background is in marketing, mine's in molecular biology. So this is our first time in the CPG space and building that. Naturally Network was able to help us connect with resources and also connect with industry leaders who could push us forward and get us to like open that door, right? Get our foot in that door. And I think through that, we were able to be successful with our launches. We've been able to maintain our #1 spot in Erewhon, and that's literally because we've learned all this knowledge with Naturally Network.
Love it. And it kind of ties into one of my core philosophies, which is going further, faster together. And I think communities like this are a great example of that because there are people out here who have been in this industry, who've built businesses, maybe not exactly like yours, but at least enough like yours to help you kind of bridge some gaps or avoid some obstacles that otherwise might have held you back for years. So you can kind of get to scale quicker by being in a supportive community like this.
All the people that we did the Naturally Network Fellowship with are still our best friends.
Nice.
Like we traveled with these people, we go hiking with these people, we're in a group text, we're
Like
sending
not just
voice notes.
business, they're like personal.
No,
They're the homies.
we cried together, we laughed together, and we have kept in touch more than any other accelerator that all of us have ever been in.
Family.
So completely.
Love
Like,
that.
those are my brothers,
CPG
those are my
family.
sisters.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So how can the community support what you're building right
Well, you should follow us on
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok at Rif Care. If you want to purchase any feminine products, rifcare.com, or Amazon, you can find Rif Care.
Love it. Well, thank you both for taking some time out of your expo schedule to share your story.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Cheers.